Hi, I'm Susan Hough with Living Your Gifts, and I love teenagers, and I've been working with teenagers since I was 22. A little hard to believe, I know, and it's been a long time, and they still excite me and ignite me. I was a social worker at first with teenagers, and then I started doing projects with them. So I love it, and we're going to help you to really learn how to talk to your teen, or maybe how to listen to your teen, and how to really learn to love them where they're at.
And my name is Friedman. I'm a guide and mentor. I host a nationally syndicated radio program called Inner Journey with Friedman. And recently, in the last 3 to 4 years, I've had an amazing opportunity to work with Susan in a project that she calls Walking for Water. This is important to me because really it's the greatest opportunity I've had to work with teens. We take some teens and set up through a charity a way for them to be of service, and we watch how they blossom by learning how to give and learning awareness of something beyond themselves.
And what's really exciting about Walking for Water is it happened because a teenager came to me and said they walk for water because I was working with a woman named Sabanfou Somé in Burkina Faso, where women walk 6 to 12 hours for water. It's crazy. And this kid came to me and said, they walk for water, why can't we? And I was like, well, we can. And that's something that you can use with your children. Notice when something ignites a spark in them. Notice what makes them feel alive, and then when they and let them talk about it. Give them that space.
Well, because teens, like every single one of us, want more than anything else to be seen, to be heard. Because if, as a parent, you could hold a container for them to go bonkers if they need to go bonkers, but just set up a place where they can be seen, they can be heard, it's going to make every single other aspect of your relationship so much better.
And we know it's so hard for teens nowadays. They're so busy with homework and having to be perfect and needing to do that and this, and their lives are so filled up, and peer pressure is so difficult with the media. There's so much that they have to think they need to look a certain way, and they think they need to be a certain way, and if they don't get this many likes on Instagram, they're not worthy. It's really tough to be a kid. It's so much harder than it was, I know, when I was a teenager, that you have to start finding out what it is that their spirit needs to connect with, and it has to be spirit that they learn to connect with, and their gift inside of them needs to be nurtured and nourished.
And sometimes it's really hard because parents want to be respected. Parents deserve to be respected. They also deserve to be seen and heard. However, you're dealing with a teen who may not be capable of respecting themselves, much less you as an adult. You know, on my radio program, I've had so many incredible thought leaders throughout the years. And one of the themes that keeps coming up over and over again, which is a brilliant tool to use with teenagers, is non-personalization. How can I do something? How can I hold a space for somebody to go absolutely bonkers, maybe even just rage at you, and not take it personally?
And there has to be community. You have to have community to raise children. To try to do it in your little house all by yourself is near impossible, because you need more mentors. They need to see all kinds of ways of being together. When I was raising my children, I was fortunate enough to create many women that became their mothers. And I had a game that we mothers played to each other, that we would pretend that something was a little off and have the other mother come in and talk from a different side view of it. So you had all these people, you find women and men in your life that have the similar values as you do, and bring them into your child's life so that you can start to dialogue with each other's children and make it easier for you to kind of have other viewpoints that are similar to yours.
Because let's face it, as a parent, you're going to want to strangle that kid at some point. And that's when it's so important to have another person who has similar values that you can hand off to, because it becomes so much to do on your own. But if you could, I know it's cliche, but it does take a village. If you could create your own village, your own community, your own structure and support system, then it's not all on you. And that way, when it gets to be too much, you're like a team and you get to hand off the ball to somebody else and you get to take a breath so that that teen still has a safe container, but doesn't get a reaction instead of a response.
Even in my teen project, where I help each child find their special gift in the project, I don't know about how to do a lot of stuff. I mean, I own, like if a kid comes to me and says, oh, how can I do this? There's some things I'm like, oh, how can you do that? I have to go someplace else and say, can you help this child with this? Because I don't know how to develop that in the way that could best help them. I stay involved with the kids, but I get other people who have that different kind of expertise and get them to interact with my child. And my children, I did the same thing. I found people that were, my son, he has another mother who never had children, who fell in love with my son and was my close friend. And he would go to her because she actually understood him better than I did. And that really gave my son another perspective and someone who could listen in a way that wasn't trying to tell him what to do.
And Susan brought up another very good point. As a parent, you don't have to know it all. One of the things that will make me trust, for example, make me trust a physician more than anything else is when they say, I don't know, but let's find out. Because then all of a sudden, you're changing the structure. You're telling the teen, you're perfect in process, but not ideal. And that means you are giving permission to the teen to not have to be ideal. Because as a teenager, they think they have to be so right on, so perfect for their friends, for their parents, for their school, for everything that they're involved with. And if you just let them know that it's okay to not know, and you do that by modeling it, all of a sudden, you're going to provide a breath. You're going to provide a little bit more space in their psyche. And that's vital to their health and well-being.
I'm going to go back to my children because I feel like a lot of times I got information just by being around, and especially in the car. If you're the one driving them to their practices, just listen. Don't get engaged with it too much, and just really take the time to listen to what they're saying. And then, after you've really kind of taken it in and not reacted too quickly, especially if you hear something you don't like when they're in the car, you breathe. You do your own meditation. You take a breath and you think, okay, what is my expectation and what is it I really want to put across to my child? And then you breathe out. And maybe if they've done something you don't like, you don't react quickly. You say, I'm not sure I liked what just happened, and I need to sit with myself so I don't overreact and I can come back to you in a way that's healthier. Because it's so easy to get angry quickly with your kid when you know they've made mistakes.
Set yourself up so you can respond versus react. It is so important. And when you're listening to the kids, not only listen to what they say, but listen to how they speak to each other. They speak in a different way than you do. And you're going to learn their language, just like it's a completely foreign language, because ultimately it really is. And it'll give you keys, it'll give you hints, it'll give you insight into how they respond, what triggers them, and what helps them relax into themselves, what supports them. But ultimately, you're holding a space. The parenting tool really is be the container. and not personalize it.
I would agree with that. It's really difficult to be a young person nowadays. And feelings, we're taught, unfortunately, especially in the United States, to eat or take pills or mash down their depression or camouflage it, numb it out. They do drugs, alcohol. I mean, it's just so sad. But if we can give our children a space, really hold space for them to talk about how hard it is to be a teenager, to have empathy as a parent to go, I can't even imagine what pressure you're under. And just hold, like you said, that container to let them really feel the depth of the sadness. Or if a kid comes with you and they're bullied, like how, don't try to dismiss what they're feeling. Don't push their feelings aside. Say, wow, that must be so hard to have that happen. Give them that space to feel it, so then you can give them other information to move through the feeling. But first, allow them to really talk about how they're feeling around issues.
So what it comes down to is hold a space, validate them. Even if you can't validate the action that they're doing, validate them as a person, because they're so hungry for it. Just let them know that even though what they're doing may not be exactly on target, who they are is a beautiful, loved, appreciated soul.
And make sure you have support. I mean, I just can't tell you how much it is, as a woman, for me to have other women that were mothers and women that weren't mothers. Because as a woman, I feel like we're all mothers. We're all in this together. And it doesn't mean you have, and fathers too. Just because you haven't given birth to a child does not make you not a father. You're both mothers and fathers, and the world needs you, and the children need to be mentored. So when a child comes to you, take a moment with that child. They're precious. They're the next generation. They will make the difference in the world. So see them. When a kid says, I want to do something, say yes. Regardless if it's your child or someone else's. And if you can't do it, find that person that can.
And you can reach out to us. We will be part of your community as well. I'm Greg Friedman.
I'm Susan Hough.
And hopefully there were a couple tools that you could use in all of this.
And we know that it's difficult to be parents, but we also know you have children that have gifts and they're necessary. And you're going to help them shine brighter because of that.
Thank you.